What's up, y'all? How's everybody doing this morning? If you came here to learn something, make some noise. All right, waking up a little bit. Hey, if you're in the back, we would love for you to come fill in. There are still more people coming. Even if there weren't more people coming, there's two reasons to fill in these chairs. Number one is they're a hell of a lot cleaner than the ones you're sitting on. I keep saying that, but y'all don't take me seriously. Second is that it ruins all the photos when you guys all sit right behind everything that's actually going to show up on a video or a photo. So what ends up happening is it looks like nobody was there, but really there were like 100 of you sitting right behind the part that shows up. So if you're willing to help, I would love for you to just come down right here and help me fill in these chairs. It's also good because as people running late, because realtors are notoriously late, I guarantee you more will show up. They could fill it in the back instead of walking in front of you and embarrassing themselves and messing up the session. Sponsors, if you haven't noticed I'm about to start, you should come line up with the rest of them on the left side. Thank you, guys. Well, welcome to the last session of the year, everybody. Y'all give yourselves and all the sponsors a round of applause. I did the math. This is session number 81. I think that's pretty ridiculous because 81 sessions ago, we were like, man, there's not really anywhere that agents are teaching objectively what they're actually doing without an ulterior motive. Everyone was trying to recruit for something or trying to sell some product or they're affiliated with a part of town, a board, a brokerage, or something. And we were like, what if we just neutrally brought together the top 500 agents and stuck them on a stage and let them tell everyone what they're actually doing without any ulterior motive or agenda? So now, 8 years plus later, we're still here. Could you give everyone that's been a part of this a round of applause for that? And we got some variations every few years. We're throwing a few wrinkles in next year. We're moving locations and we're doing a little bit differently. So you'll learn more about that later. But every third Thursday, January through November. So you're going to want to mark your calendars now for the third Thursday in January, which is what? It's January 16th. You might as well put it on your calendar now. January 16th. It's going to be about kicking the year off strong. It's going to be about having an awesome 2025. I don't know the exact title, but I promise you, you're going to want to be there and you're going to want to mark it on your calendar now. We go 9:30 till 11 each and every month. And then from 11 to noon, we have like a impromptu networking lunch. I know PJ Crescenzo with Element Mortgage is sponsoring lunch. So the first $500 spent at the bar, at the Eden Lounge bar today is covered. So make sure you thank PJ and spend some money at the bar. Make sure you get your order in. By the way, for not the first 500, he's not covering it. So those of you that like lollygag in there, we didn't cover your stuff. Just remember that. So go out there and order some stuff. Anyway, y'all ready to learn something today? So how many of you have been here before? Raise your hand. Is there any? Welcome back. Is there anyone that's new here? Can we give a round of applause to the new people? So if you haven't been able to tell, we've been doing this for a long time. And welcome. Hopefully you'll come back every third Thursday. But Orlando Real, we rank and make a magazine and run events for the top 500 agents in Greater Orlando based off production. And so the reason that these people are on stage is because they all rank in the top 500. That's the top 2.5%. And there are about 90, 95 advertising partners that support our platform. And they represent the best of the best of the best at whatever they do. So like if you meet anyone in this room or after today that doesn't sell real estate, they do something else, they're not here by accident. They didn't bring bagels or donuts. They are referred by top agents. They work with people that sell lots and lots and lots of homes, and they support this platform long-term, trying to build relationships with you. When I say long-term, I'm talking like several years at a time. So these are people you should take seriously. You should know they are experts at what they do, and you should make sure you get to know them. So can we one more time give a round of applause to all the preferred partners of Real Producers? And we've got about 10 of them that stepped up today extra to make us be able to put this on every month and here. So I'm going to give them each just a minute. If y'all want to just come down, let's just make a line and go down the line. There's no mutes on these new mics though. So you just have to hit that button in the center to turn yourself on. But basically, they're going to each just take a minute to tell you about what they do. It's not long enough to explain their whole services or to explain their brand new product or program, but you guys should connect with them after and follow them and learn more about what they do. Y'all ready to roll? You can come up in front of these chairs too. Here, we'll kick it off with Shay Walker.
Oh, hi. Can I go now?
Go for it.
Hey guys, if I am a new face to you, my name is Shay Walker. I am a branding photographer, which means that I get the photos of you looking amazing for your marketing, digital, print, social media, anywhere where you can show up with a really great first impression and tell your brand story and not just use another graphic or the same photo over and over again. The cool thing about me is that you don't actually have to know how to be in front of a camera. I guide you, I pose you, I am like your hype girl, and you'll feel really confident after in like how to use images and feeling good about them. I also own a brand studio, which I do some of my sessions in, and that studio has a podcast and video studio within it as well. So definitely follow me and the studio on my Instagram. I'm doing a Black Friday special for the video studio and a 12 days of Christmas giveaways with some really cool local vendors and stuff. So yeah, lots of fun. And then connect to me on Instagram. You'll see exactly what I do, how I do it, and my vibe. And I appreciate you guys. Have fun today. Oh, and here's your listing photo girl right here.
Good morning. My name's Christy Keene. I'm the Business Development Manager at DeVore Design. And if you don't know us, we do all things listing media related. Whether you need photography, content creation for your social media, your website built, we can handle all of it. Drone photography, the whole 9 yards. The most important thing I have for you guys this morning is a little thank you for spending your year with us. So Vic sent me with a code, a little discount code that's good through the end of the year. So everybody grab your phones, whether you're new to DeVore Design or whether you use us every week. It's thanks75. Again, that's thanks75. And Vic said to tell you all good morning, and he misses you. And I've given up on the selfies because my arms are too short.
Hello, everyone. My name is Chance Kelly. I'm here with Miracle Movers of Florida. I provide photo. No, I'm just kidding. I do long and short distance full service moves from packing to moving to storage. Anything that you or your clients might need, I'm happy to help with. I am owner operator and I'm my only sales rep. So your clients will deal strictly with me, which is good for you. So thank you guys so much. I really appreciate you. If you get a minute, meet me at the bar. Let's have a drink and chat it out. Thank you guys.
Hi, I'm Cesar Costa, the owner of House Master Home Inspections. But I'm not a typical inspector. I'm an engineer. I have an MBA from Michigan. I have 13 licenses under GPBR. I have written this book, What Every Realtor Should Know About Home Inspections, on Amazon. I have written 5 CE classes that provided education for realtors. So I give you hours for your license renewal. And last year alone, I trained 5,000 realtors on continuous education classes. So I invite everybody to reach me at the end. I can give you the address so you can register for the classes. You can pick my brain, bring your hardest questions, all the issues that you have with home inspections, because I'm going to clarify everything, mold, termites, everything you need to know, because I hold all the licenses and I want to help you. And then you can evaluate if I'm the right fit for your business, because House Master is not for everybody. It's only for the best realtors. They're looking to elevate their services. Thank you.
Love it. Steve. Good to Steve. Let's go.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Bell. I'm owner and partner with Harding Bell International. We are a CPA firm. I'm also a photographer, obviously now. But we are a full service CPA firm. We work with realtors, property managers, anything kind of real estate related, specifically investors, foreign investors. And obviously, I would love to have your business, and we do any kind of small business. But I think the most important thing that we can provide for you is value to your clients. They're going to have tax questions. They're going to have tax needs. So we're available to help you. And again, love to have your business, but would love to be a referral partner as well. So, one thing that will differentiate us from maybe other CPA firms is that we have capacity throughout the year to take your calls, to answer your questions. We're not just a one-man shop. I'm not the guy that does this stuff. Thank God for you guys. But we have availability. We have a large team, so we're available for you to answer questions. Especially you go through tax season, your CPA is not available. Reach out to us. We can certainly help you. Love to help you. Thank you guys. Have a great class.
Ooh, we love you, Steve. Hey, guys. Y'all awake?
Yeah. All right. Heather Hurry, Pillar to Post, the Jeff Mackey team, residential and commercial inspections. This is Richard McKay. He's our field manager. So he actually does the hard work. This is the fun stuff for me. So I just wanted
I'd rather be in a crawl space.
Oh, he probably would.
You're on stage. Let me just.
Yeah. So crawl space, better for you than me, buddy. So listen, guys, we are asking for your reviews. We're 200 reviews, Google views away from 8,000 reviews. So before you think about who you're choosing as a partner, just FYI, you might want to check the reviews. Just check them, make sure that they're vetted, right? We've got a great panel up here of vendor partners that can help you. So we were excited about that. And we're celebrating 24 years in business next year. So super excited. Richard here is going to stay afterward and hang out with you at lunch if you'd like to join us. Anything else you want to add,
So if
sir?
anybody has any questions, I'm staying for lunch. Feel free to come find me.
Come bug him. All right. Have a great masterclass, guys.
Thanks.
And happy Thanksgiving.
All right. Love it. Let's try that again. Can y'all hear me? Can you turn me up a little bit? All right. Y'all ready to roll? Let's bring up the panelists for this month's session. Let's go first with the guy that's been on the stage the most, TJ Cosgrove. He's been in real estate for over 20 years. He's led top producing teams for over 2 decades. It doesn't say his team's volume, but I know they sold several $100 million every year for the last several years, and absolutely crushing it. He has spread. They're now the TJ's C team or TJ Cosgrove team, and they're with Real. Give it up for TJ Cosgrove. And as I say that, I realize that Justin Core's probably been on the stage even more. But Justin, he's been married over 14 years, has 3 kids, been in real estate since 2009. He's been the broker and owner of Core Group Real Estate, or was the broker and owner from 2015 to 2023. He took the team to EXP a year ago. It's a top 10 EXP team in Florida. Over $750 million in career sales. Can I get it? That's hot. Let's give it up for Justin Core. Today is his first public mustache appearance, by the way, for the Movember Foundation. It might not be blue, but it is a mustache. All right. Matt McKee with the McKee Group. Over 28 years of full-time real estate experience. He's proud to lead the dynamic team. They offer best-in-class service and expertise in Central Florida's markets, Orange, Lake, and Seminole counties. Over 3 generations of real estate experience in his family. He has over $475 million in sales, and he's been in the Orlando's top 25 agents probably every year. I've ranked it since like 2016. So each and every year, this guy and his team are absolutely crushing it, and he's partnered with Compass since 2020, and let's give it up for Matt McKee. Thanks. All right. Albin. Albin has a long bio, so I'm going to skip around in it if that's cool with you guys. Albin's resided in Central Florida for over 20 years. He's been licensed for over 20 years. He's a former Rollins College student, tennis player. The guy, fun fact about Albin that you guys don't know is he does pretty well selling and flipping watches in addition to selling $40 million plus in real estate each and every year for probably the last 5, 6, 7 years, because he's in our top 30, 40 agents every single year that we've ranked it, and doing it basically all by himself. He's his own broker, and he's with, I always say it funny, but say it again, Central Florida Prime Real Estate. Central Florida Prime Real Estate. And I'm just going to skip the rest of it if that's cool with y'all. That's a lot of real estate, $40 million a year every year. Let's give it up for Albin Hupster. Sorry, I bought that, but that worked great. All right, and then we got a guest moderator today. Y'all ready to give it up for Mark Railmaker? Y'all know Mark? Anyone here for Mark? Mark is the founder of Serhant Orlando. He's the leader of the Home Squad. Since being licensed in 2016, he's built his business and the focus mostly through video content, social media, using innovative marketing strategies to connect with clients and grow his presence. He's on pace to close over $100 million in sales this year with his team, and he's honored to moderate this panel with all these G's on the stage. So I'm going to just hand the mic over to Mark, and if I'll have questions, I'm going to be kind of walking around. So if you have your hand up, I may get to them, but Mark has enough questions because he's an up-and-coming and a top producer that wants to probably double what he's been doing. So he's got more questions than I do about this. So I'm just going to shut up and let him go. Let's give it up for Mark Railmaker.
Thanks, man. All right, we have some massive producers on this stage. So when he asked me to moderate, I was selfishly excited because I can ask some questions and probably gain a lot of knowledge. So I'm glad everybody's here. Thanks for taking time. This is gonna be super exciting. If you do have questions, we'll have a little Q&A afterwards, because I'm sure a lot of you guys want to pick these guys' brains as well. But we're gonna keep, there's no real theme, right? I'm gonna make it more like into 2024. 2024 was super weird, right? And then we're going into 2025. So let's see how they succeeded, what their plans are and all that stuff. So let's just start real easy. Let's start by hearing about your business today, how it's structured, team, brokerage, production, and what was your main focus going into 2024, and how did it work out? TJ.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for having me here. As far as our team is structured, I have a team that's located down in the Disney corridor, and I'm with Real Broker. I was a boutique brokerage for about 16 years. Operating a small, I called it the SEAL team. We do 125 to 225 million a year on that team. Very hyper focused for that area. We've expanded now into some of the other areas here in Central Florida. As far as starting 2024, it's kind of, sometimes we all feel like we're on the hamster wheel of real estate. It's January 1st comes around and you're trying to up your technology, up your knowledge, up your ability to sell, lots of front doors throughout Central Florida. So we took on a new marketing program this year, and we kind of established, and now it's even morphed into something different where we're just about to start some really integrated AI, which is really a database management system that will be constantly contacting prospective owners, which allows us to be a lead generation company, which is really where I want to get to, is a lead generation company, because there's, I don't know how many billions of dollars that are sold right here in Central Florida, and it's really up for grabs for anybody, and the technology's on your side. So, and I'm the dinosaur of the group here, as you can see. So I just been around longer. It doesn't mean I'm any smarter than any of these guys, for sure.
Awesome. Thanks. Justin.
Yeah, we're model-wise, I guess we are a somewhat traditional team. We ran as a real estate brokerage for a long time, and the transition to EXP really was around the focus of allowing all of our agents to take their own business where they want to take it, right? So we do run some micro teams inside of our team. We have a Zillow Flex team. We have some other, kind of micro teams that collaborate and work together. But the goal is allowing each one of them to reach whatever their full potential is. Everybody doesn't have the same goals in this business. And so we've got to make sure we're kind of working with them to help them draw up the business model they want and the business they want to achieve. Which, really has always been one of my philosophies, has been having agents that have the ability to leave us but choose to stay, and so making sure we're continuing to provide value in a way that, they could take it and go somewhere else or open their own brokerage or do whatever it is they want to do, but choose to stay for what we're bringing to the table and what we're offering. 24 was, I think, volume-wise or transaction-wise, was one of the worst years in 30 years that we've seen. Just it was a tough one. So the hard part with that is anybody who is new in the business is just staring that down as like this impossible feat. And 25 is looking good. I'm excited about the prospect of it, and just trying to keep everybody, looking forward, stay the course. We're in this. We're talking about it at our table here a few minutes ago. There's a idea of this. You start and you're overly optimistic, and then you go into the valley of despair. And I feel like a lot of us have been in that for a little while here this year of it's got to get better than this. And so staying the course, not changing all of the tactics that we know work over and over and over again, because they've not been working as well this year, has kind of been a focus. And nobody wants to hear that, but sometimes doing the boring stuff consistently is going to yield fruit when the currents change. And that's we're in the changing current right now.
Yeah, right. I feel like 2024, things slowed down, right? And then a lot of what we want to do is change everything to be I need to sit, but then just stick with it is sometimes but you do need to change stuff too, even the AI stuff we're talking about. So I'm going to get into that later. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, so you just said boring stuff. That's the focus of our business. We're boring. We just do the same stuff over and over again. My mother started this in 1987, and it's based upon just taking care of your clients and getting referrals from your clients, repeat business. We're a small team. It's really my son and I. My wife supports us, helps us. She's doing a deal with Ron. He's here in this room somewhere right now. And that's her third deal of the year, and we're super happy for that. So, but our team is it's small. I'm responsible for most of the production. My son is 5 years in the business, 25 years old. He would have been here, but he's at a wedding this weekend. So, but he's growing in production. So that's my main focus, is to leave a legacy and bring him up, and so that down the road I can step out of production. 2025, we're super excited about it. How things have just turned in this fourth quarter of 2024 to strengthen, and just good outlook for 2025.
Cool. So nice to meet you guys. I've never been here before. So Aaron, thanks for, I don't know where you went, but thanks. It's not working. All right. Is that better? There we go. Aaron, thanks for finally getting me here. He's tried to get me here for a couple of years, and every time I make an excuse that I'm busy or I'm out of town. I was supposed to be out of town until he messaged me last week and said, "You're coming, right?" Even though 5 months ago I said I wasn't sure, but it's all good. I won't give him any shit. So, but the face of my operation is essentially me. So I have two other agents. They kind of do their own thing. They're mostly just kind of part-timers, if you will. But I've had my business for about 8 years. I've been in the business for almost 20. Got my license right before I went to college and thought it was a good idea. I was going to Rollins on a tennis scholarship. I said, hey, I'll meet some nice, good people. They'll probably buy some houses from me. And it worked out. And one thing kind of led to another. And my real estate business kind of took off. I got my MBA from Rollins as well, and just felt like it would kind of notch me up a little bit, distinguishing me from other agents or brokers in the business. But my day-to-day is, as Aaron mentioned, I do sell watches. It is an essentially full-time business for me as well. So I'm selling about $20 million a year in watches and about $40 million a year in real estate. I'm the only guy here with no hair. So that probably is why. I'm on my phone 24/7, just kind of, working my clients. And, as far as, some of these guys have mentioned some of their, kind of their business strategies a little bit. But, I spend $0 in marketing. My business is 100% referral base. So I really, not trying to put it down, but, if someone cold calls me, a lot of the time I'll just pass it on. I'm really only looking to work with referral based, clients. It just, that for me, that's been my business for the last 8 years. And I just feel like it makes a difference when you get a straight referral from somebody. So, but looking forward to being here.
Awesome. All right, let's dive into it. So you guys all have different business models, different structures, different teams. You move around different brokerages, right? So I want to know this because I personally am always curious. I know we'll just keep going in the same order. TJ, did you choose your business model or did it choose you? You know what I mean by that?
Let me go way back, right?
Yeah.
Back before we had electricity. So, but it was probably very similar to a lot of way people get their real estate license. I happened to be early 2000s and had an opportunity. I was actually playing golf for a living and I needed a new career. So even par wasn't good enough. So you had to shoot really well. But a lot of the people that I was around were making over $1 million a year in real estate. And we're talking like 30 people that I knew. And they made it look really easy, and it was a peak time in the real estate market. It reminded me a lot of COVID, right? COVID hit, everyone was buying real estate. You could be a bartender, and if you had your real estate license, you were going to sell $10 million in real estate. So, and it was kind of a sobering event to go through the crash of the market in 2000, end of 2005 through 2009. But I started as a developer agent, and then when I decided to run my own real estate brokerage, I had to do a lot of research and understanding, because when I'm listening to these folks up here, and hopefully you guys hear it as well, they're not just realtors. These are business owners, right? And they're really thinking about how to get big business and how they're going to structure, their year, their marketing, their call to actions, all this stuff. And Albin, when you said that you only do referral business, and I looked at his numbers up, his numbers are enormous. So to get one source for leads, that's lunch in my office. I make whoever's phone go off by lunch. So, but his source of leads doing referral business, the secret to that would be, and I'm curious about it, is how he follows up, because that follow up has to be a 10 out of 10 to get $40 million in business a year. But with me, to answer the question, I'm going a long story here. I can talk too long. But the way I structured my business, it was a much of development into understanding it, and then starting with a small team, and then all of a sudden you had to feed everybody, and then what that marketing looked like, and it's very difficult to scale. So that's why at the end of 16 years of running my own boutique real estate brokerage, I ended up moving our team to Rio Broker, just because it was a good anchor point for agents to succeed, and much like a lot of the platforms here. So it was a good fit for our team.
Perfect. When did was there a moment where you could either start your team, your brokerage, or should I just do this on my own? Like Matt and Alvin, they just kind of do it simple, right? And then the three of us are crazy. So when was it where you're like, oh, I should bring more people in, or there is a fork in the road? What happened with you?
You run into a lot of forks.
Yeah.
You start, doing a lot of things, and then saying, I can do this better. I can make more money. I'm working all ends of marketing and lead generation, and agents aren't doing what they should be doing and making phone calls and follow up. And, you become everything. But when you find people who want the same things that you want, it's very easy, very easy. And we have a great team in Orlando here. We're operating out of a few different developer locations, and there's massive growth that's here in Orlando. Massive opportunity.
Awesome. Justin, what about you? Did it choose you, or did you choose it?
I've run every version of this thing over the years, and some of it I think stems from boredom. Like we've done this long enough, let's try something else. A lot of it stems out of scalability. Like what is my limit, right? And trying to find that. And then I guess more recently thinking, like, in the long term, what's the exit, And so really kind of have gone through all those cycles. I think the smart guys probably stay small, for being really honest, and just do it and make a lot of money along the way. And that's a really good way to do it. And I've always thought about maybe that's something to go back to one day, But where have found, I think, the most joy is in growing people and bringing new people into this, especially watching. We were just talking about one of them here a few minutes ago. Guy, I think he's 22 with us now, been with me since he graduated high school. And it's like, a life change, family tree change, is just absolutely crushing it. And that stuff is fun. And so the idea of, hey, how many people can we impact in that way that we can bring along for the ride? That's kind of where my model has landed, and it's been on the back of that.
Awesome. Yeah, Matt, why haven't you grown a massive team? I'm sure people have come up to you and said, let me join. What's been your model and what the choices you made?
Yeah, so fortunately, some of my friends from Compass are here. They've seen me. I've attempted to grow a team, and I believe 2025 I may just attempt it again. But I will say the easiest path, or the most predictable, controllable path, is staying solo, staying small. It's less personalities you have to manage. It's less people you have to babysit. I do love mentoring and pouring into people, but I find myself, I want to own the results more than they want to own them. And trying to figure that out is the magic. And I haven't figured that out yet. So we'll see what 2025 looks like. Andrea, my sales manager over here, has her work cut out for her. Yes. But then the original question, did it pick me or did I pick it? It was given to me by my mother. And then my parents, who I worked with initially, told me I had no option but to get into coaching. So I started in Mike Ferry, quickly found out that was not my cup of tea, got into Brian Buffini, did that for 14 years. And now I do a mix of Buffini and Larry Kendall with Ninja. And I highly, highly recommend it for a boring, sustainable business path, to just grow your business year after year. 2024 has been a grind, but we've stuck with boring. And at the end of 2024, we'll have met our goals, less than we sold in 2023, but still met our goals, and it's been a good year.
Yeah. Why are you by yourself?
So I've got a 4-year-old that I babysit, so it's enough babysitting. No, I'm kidding. No, I've always just wanted to do things on my own. You know, I mean, I guess moved out on my own when I was 15 years old. You know, I was trying to pursue a career in being a professional tennis player, so I think I matured at a super young age. And you know, going into college, getting my license, just kind of doing it on my own. When I got out of school, I was like, well, I'm just going to keep doing it on my own. Never really thought of, well, let me hire some agents, you know, let me help them, let me mentor them. It was always more like, hey, you know, if I'm gonna spend the time, I want to spend the time on my own clients and doing it on my own. You know, as of late, just this last year, I've had 1 or 2 agents that again were, you know, with Keller Williams or Coldwell Banker, and they just said, hey, look, you know, we're not getting much. We're not in this full time. You know, can we just come under your wing? And I said, yeah, as long as I'm not, you know, babysitting you. They're, you know, they've been agents for 10 years, so they can kind of do their own thing. But I wouldn't say that I'm trying to build a big team. I would say I'm not trying to build a huge company. I mean, it's not easier, but it's more controlled, as you mentioned, just being on your own. You know, I think different people do different things, like yourself. I mean, you've got 20 plus agents. You probably want to grow it to 100, you know, who knows? And you love that, you know. Some people just like to be on their own. You know, I'm a super relationship based guy, and you know, if I make a mistake, I want to be making it, not one of my agents. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right, let's shift into some actual like leads and converting and all that stuff too. So TJ, before we go into like what your plan is for 2025, where's most of your business come from? How do you get it? How do you convert it? And let's talk about that.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in not taking your Florida license seriously, right? You don't need to be selling in Merritt Island or Miami or Tampa. You really need to be an expert, and I'm sure that the panel up here as well. You know, stick a stake in the ground in your own neighborhood or be an expert in something. So I did that, you know, 18 years ago, and it's worked out really well, but it's very immersive, right? You have to know everything about everything and everyone and try to develop those relationships so they choose to use you when they go to sell their real estate. And I think that that's a big key to our business is establishing a brand, right? Just a little cookie for everyone in here. As an individual realtor, when you go to send something out, whether it's postcard mailers or e-blasts, don't use the word I and what I sold. Don't use I at all. Use we, team, and just make sure that you're branding yourself bigger than you are. Because someday you might be. But if somebody's looking to sell or buy a property, they want to know they're in the hands of an expert. So we do a lot of the you know, blocking and tackling, e-blasts, postcard mailers. We host events, bring owners in, bring buyers in. We do all those kind of things. So that's how we do it.
Are you paying for any leads? Are you doing any online anything at all?
So, I mean, referral business is paying for leads at one point in time. It's just not paying for it over and over and over again, which is the most efficient way, is to build real relationships with every single person that you are trying to help out. Remember that you're always trying to solve a problem. I talk to a lot of realtors and agents, and one of the things they say is, oh, I want to be a luxury agent. I sell $50,000 properties, you know, sometimes. So like whatever it is, you want to solve that problem. You're always trying to solve a problem. A seller wants to sell for what? What does a seller want? What does a seller want to do? For what? The highest price possible, right? What does a buyer want to do? He wants to buy it for the lowest price possible. So just make sure you're, you know, talking to the people that you to the tone and the verbiage that is the person you're trying to sell. So we're relationships. We pour into that, and we do pay for leads. I do not pay. I'm not on any Zillow plan. I was with Zillow for many years, or Realtor or any of those programs. I mean, they work for some people, and they just don't work for us in the what they take, I guess.
Sure. Awesome. Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
That's a good question. We're not that far down the road yet. We're literally about to launch it, and we've gone through some an incredible beta testing. I don't know if anyone's actually poured into this. We're not talking Chat GPT here. This is talking about database management and lead sourcing. And what that allows me to do is now generate lots of leads so I can market and spend my money to lots of leads to port into the Crucible. And then these will be worked. It's good for small teams or large teams where you have control of the lead. The biggest problem for anyone who has teams is that when you go to market for passing out leads to your realtors and your team is that number one, they might not have a sales process, which they need. Number two, they might not know how to follow through and follow up with leads. And then number three, we're all guilty of this, including myself, is you're on the hamster wheel of real estate. Your life's flying all over the place at all times, and you're trying to juggle everything. So, it's very important to have some control of that, and that's what that AI is.
TJ, are you building out your own software, or are you third-partying out?
No, third party, yeah. And it's I don't have time to build out software, but I appreciate it.
That's why I was like, if you are, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
that's awesome.
If you see my social media, you know I'm not building out any software.
Justin, what about you?
Lead a lot for a self-proclaimed dinosaur.
Right. I know. Talking about AI. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a couple theories, that I go through on this, because we sit here and we, a lot of times the questions are, well, like, where's all your business come from? And I see it on all the chat portal, on Facebook groups and stuff all the time. Like, who closed this many deals here? Where all your business come from? And you've got to look at, one, how much business you want to do. Like, if you're an individual agent, like, you don't need, to be spending a ton of money on ad leads to convert at a really low level. You need to go get 2 that are going to convert at a really high level, right? And just do that over and over and over. Where we come in is now we've got, 35 agents or something like that. We've got capacity. We've spent a lot of time training. We talk about, our conversion process, the buyer meeting, the buyer package, all the things that are going to go in. And so we're constantly looking at, well, how busy is our group? What kind of capacity do we have now? Do we need to be bringing in more leads to supplement? Like in a year like 24, we spend a little bit more bringing in leads, where in many years we're spending most of our time chasing warmer business, right? And so we know a lot of our warm business this year was just choosing not to buy and sell. They were staying put, locked into, 2.7% interest rate, and we'll wait for things to get a little better. Right, wrong, or different, that was the reality of the year. So we spend most of our time with new agents, and personally, I spend most of my time chasing warm business. I have a VIP list I call on the regular, people we kind of Buffini style stuff that it's boring. We're doing business together. We're trying to get to know them, people I want to do business in life with. And then I want to know their networks, right? And so that to me, it's the best business of all, is I want to know who is somebody that knows me, likes me, trusts me, has the ability and propensity to refer, has their own network of people that they're willing to put their name on the line and refer me to be their agent. And that stuff converts at a massive level. We also run a Zillow Flex team. And so, meaning we pay at closing, it was kind of when that rolled out, I wasn't a Zillow paid leads fan at all. But the reality is, if it closes at, we're anywhere between 6 and 10% on those leads. I mean, we've tried to do it better. We've taken the gas off and tried to not do it better. And it's always in that 6 to 10% range, right? It's a numbers game. And so, when you get to that point, it's like, okay, well, how many leads do we need to get us to the finish line to close the amount of business we're capable of closing? And so, we really don't do much more than that. We don't have any other really paid sources. So it's all warm referral-based business, obviously open houses and other marketing. And then from a marketing standpoint, real quick, like, I like to market the way I like to be marketed to. And so I think everybody needs to just step back from doing traditional real estate stuff and think, how do you how would you convert as a buyer? Because I think I work best with people who are like me for some reason. I think your vibe attracts your tribe. And so like, I want to market to people. I'm not going to be the guy that's calling on a postcard that comes to my house. Those go in, sorry, I guess some of y'all's, they go in the trash so fast, it's not that impactful to me. So just think about where it is you need to be marketing yourself in order to convert people that are going to be easy to work with for you.
Nice. All right, Matt.
So 85% of our business is referral based. 36% of that 85 is compass to compass referrals, agents that I've built relationships with around the country. Last week I was in Charleston at our annual convention and just building those relationships. So, we've talked to AI, we've talked to Zillow, referrals. You've got to have a plan at the end of the day. You can do Zillow and just be fine. You can do AI, you can do referrals. Referrals is the one that is the tortoise, not the hare. It's going to take a little bit longer, but in the long term, it's going to give you some longevity and sustainability of doing $20 million of watches and $40 million of real estate. I can promise you that's a referral based on relationships. And so 85% of our business, we know that client, it's our tribe. That 15% is something that I've changed. Prior to coming to Compass, it was probably like 5% of our business was not referral based. But the management there has taken me and put me into farming. I do about $24,000 a year in postcards, and it's fine if you throw it in the trash. I expect you to throw it in the trash. It doesn't even make it to your front, door. Makes it to your recycle bin, right from the post, from the mailbox. I'm fine with that. But you saw me, I made an impression, and we've had very good success, especially we farm Oakland Park. It's the neighborhood I live in Winter Garden, and we have had great success coming in there in the last 4 years and really getting, at the end of this year, we probably will be the #1 market share in Oakland Park.
I see your signs all the time.
Yeah, which is great. I'm doing a deal with Ron in there right now. So just find something that works for you. Don't do something just because one of us said it. Find what you're comfortable with. And again, as I said previously, find a coach. Whether that's at your office, find a mentor. You don't have to pay somebody to coach you. You don't have to pay Brian Buffini, Mike Ferry, Tom Ferry, all those great coaches. Find somebody that's a few years ahead of you that has some success. Bust out Aaron's magazine and look in the top 50 and say, hey, will you do lunch? Will you do coffee? And then find out how Zillow works. Find out how AI works. Find out we do 6 parties a year at our house. And again, that's how you're talking about follow-up. You've got to be a 10 out of 10. That's our follow-up, is that we stay in touch with our clients throughout the year by inviting them over to our home.
You have your clients to your house.
Yeah. Yep.
Do you cater it? To talk about that really quick.
My wife, who's not here this morning, is she grew up, her mother was a caterer. So she grew up, and she primarily does it. Our main event is our wine and cheese. And she puts a huge spread out for that.
And you invite what day? Yeah.
Oakland Park.
Yeah.
Pretty house.
Do you invite because you have a massive past client list? We
do. We throw out, for that event, we invite all of our clients. But again, 75 people are going to show up at the end of the day to get somebody to come on a Saturday evening from 7 to 9. And people just drop in and it's great. But then we have events in June of every year. We have Kelly's ice cream truck and a mobile shredding truck come to our house, park in the driveway, throw up a bunch of tents for shade and have water and ice cream, and people can shred all their tax documents. So
that's awesome.
Just keep it simple and again, boring and repeatable.
Yeah, but those events aren't boring. You're still networking.
No, the events aren't boring, but I'm just saying repeat year after year. Don't try to, once you find something that works, just keep doing it.
Does everyone hear that? He's being the mayor of where he lives. So it's very easy for somebody who used a realtor, bought with somebody. The realtor never followed up, but this guy's over here having a party. Looks like he's having fun. I get his postcards. I get his mailers. He stuck his stake in the ground. It's going to be very difficult to go usurp him from Oakland Park that he's decided, and he's through Windermere and everything else. But I mean, that's you need to be the mayor of something, or everyone has to be an expert in something, and that was great.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use you to buy a house so I can be your client and come to all your parties, because that sounds like a good selling license. So, yeah. So, no, I would say I'm completely different than all of these guys other than Matt here, who, I think we share kind of the same type of business model. But yeah, I would say, I don't track my numbers. I don't look at, how many clients I've served that year. I just kind of go. But I would say 90+% is referrals. I close maybe 40 to 50 deals a year. So, you can do the numbers.
What do you do though? That's a lot of referrals. So not to spend $0 on marketing. None of us can say that, right?
Yeah. So, I haven't spent $1 on marketing in probably 6 years.
But you're marketing yourself.
I'm marketing myself, but I don't know. I always go back to it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And I've been very fortunate to I moved to Lake Nona about 6 years ago. Perfect time, and I live in Lake Nona Golf Country Club. It's a very affluent neighborhood where, every sale is $2-3 million. So I'm in that community doing well. You do 10, 15 deals a year there. That's a big number. So I lived in Baldwin Park before, where I established a good brand and a good relationship with a lot of people there. And a lot of people tend to stay in Baldwin Park. They just kind of move from one place to another. But yeah, I don't know.
Do you call them? Do you do parties? Or you just?
I don't do parties. I don't call, again,
They just call you and say, hey,
yeah,
we're awesome.
Yeah. I think the biggest compliment that any agent can get, and I don't know if any of you guys have had this, but it's happened to me more than a handful of times where I'm the listing agent. The buyers come in, they have an agent. 3 years later, they go to sell the house, they call me. To me, that's the biggest compliment. They bought with another agent, but then they remembered me from the listing agent, and I think it's always, making a good impression of yourself. You never know who's going to be your next client, and again, I'm fortunate, to sell high-end watches. There's a lot of agents that buy from me. So if you need a watch, let me know, I'll hook you up. So, but that also gives me business, right? So I've been to different listing appointments where, I'm wearing a really nice watch, selling a $2 million house. And the guy says, hey, I want to use you. I love watches. I love your watch. And it's crazy. I'm not saying go out and sell watches, but I've just kind of hit this niche where it's a fun thing. And it gives me business. So.
Got it. All right. Let's, so I'm curious about this. So a lot of referrals, I feel like we get them from our marketing, our reputation, our brand, but then the transaction is the most stressful part. That's what is really hard to deal with. I get a lot of my repeat business because I focus so much on the experience, right? So whether it's a team, whether it's a brokerage, or whether it's a single individual agent, how do you make your transaction experience so good with the client that they're going to always use you guys? Go ahead, TJ.
It's always service. Right.
But like specifically, what do you do? Are you always available? Are you proactive? Are you good at negotiate? Like, what do you make them feel?
I don't work Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I'm only kidding. So I'm not sure how we do that. Maybe we just do it organically, but we do not let go of the transaction. We do not go out and show houses for fun, right? We're very purposeful. We're very discovery orientated. We have a great sales process, and the sales process allows us to listen and learn and discover what that particular person is looking for. Then we go solve the problem, right? We don't just, hey, we don't get calls. This is not how we're set up, where we get phone calls and say, I'd like to go see this house on Saturday. We don't get that. We get, hey, I might be interested in purchasing a property. You guys seem like you're the experts. And then we start talking to them. And then we arrange an appointment to sit with them if we can, or we go on the phone. And we always make sure that the husband and wife, if it's husband and wife, are together, right? That's very important. So that's just like sales stuff. But I'm not sure how we do it through the transaction, but we're very fortunate to, I find, by the way, I've done a study on this. So probably some of you in this room. Ron, the realtor's here. Give a big round of applause for Ronzo in the back over there. So if you know Ron, his process is very detailed. He's got the Army, right? Ron's Army, RTR Army. But the reality is that he's an expert in his marketplace, and people will use him habitually. And to be able to be like established like that, you have to stay in touch with people. And most realtors, I did a study all the way through Windermere and Winter Garden, specifically Windermere actually. And I went through some of the high-end communities, and the average realtor loses touch with their buyer year one. Because as a person who is in marketing, I've got to see where the cost of my entry is. And when I find marketplaces where realtors are not following up with because they'll list it with somebody else over the next year or 2 years or 3 years, and the experts in the marketplace go up to like 9 years, 10 years of staying in touch with somebody after they sold it the first time. So when they go to relist it, they use that person. And there's something there about that service and being connected and staying in touch. So if you can develop skill sets that you have automated follow-up that's of value, right? Not something that's like, here's a cookie, dessert or dessert ingredients for making a cake, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. No one cares about your baking skills. They want to know you're an expert. So
I love it. Justin, what about you and your team's experience? Like, how do you make the experience so good?
Yeah, and I've been through, I guess, again, different kind of versions of this. Like, I think, Alvin, like you're probably super involved, just like hands-on. And I love that when I have those warm clients where there's relationship, our kids go to school together, we see each other on Saturday, right? There's a different experience there than like someone relocating in, they're here for a week. And so I think, I've spent a lot of time making sure what are the things that we can create process from that we can do repeatable on a regular basis at any level, right? And there's certain things like that just throughout the process. So having a refined transaction coordination process is a big deal because it takes that off of your plate. Is something to worry about. I see a lot of agents really stressing throughout that process, almost strangling the deals versus being personable throughout the deal, right? And so that's where I want to get rid of as much of that stuff. So I've got a transaction coordinator who's been with me for 6 years. We've got, just really good chemistry. I know exactly all the stuff she's handling. She knows exactly what I need to know to make sure I can jump in and be, personable, make sure I can jump in and add value. I can bring something to solve a problem they have. So there's the balance of having that concierge, very personalized service versus, I think about this from the like Ritz-Carlton kind of effect, right? You've got the cleaners, you've got all the people like that do the things at a really high level. But then the experience happens when someone steps in and solves a big problem, right? And we experienced that at the Ritz one time. We were going there for a baby moon. Wife's pregnant. Before we got to our room, there was something, and they didn't find out until we got to the hotel. There was something on the bed, handwritten card, little onesie or something. It's like, those are the things, if we can just have those memorable moments periodically, you can't do it perfectly, but those are the things that aren't ever going to be in your business plan that you can implement if you're just intentional. And you can't be running around stressed and make those things happen. Right. You got to get rid of the stress so you can be impactful.
Right. All right. Good. Matt.
First, this is not a good thing, but I stay hyper involved myself. I'm too accessible, but clients obviously like that when it's their biggest financial transaction that they can get a hold of me most anytime. And same with the other agent on the other end or the title company or the mortgage. And I think that is something that our industry lacks big time is communication skills and the ability. This is people's biggest financial investment. Be available. I'm not saying be available at 9 o'clock. You're on a date with your wife or out with your kids at a sporting event, but I'm saying be available when you need to be available for your client. Don't just leave them hanging and don't leave the other agent hanging. Communicate. So that's something big. But then within our systems, we do have a transaction coordinator that helps us out a ton with just dotting the I's, crossing the T's. But bigger than anything in the last 4 years since coming to Compass, I have a system, a CRM business tracker that everything is right in there. So when I'm in Charleston last week, I can pull up everything from my phone on all my files, all my documents, my e-signs, my timelines, action plans, everything. It's all right there. So it just makes it easy for me to track a file, or my son Alex. My wife Rebecca doesn't touch technology, but our transaction coordinator Chris, it's easy for him to jump in the file. So just having that system
Helps you be available for your clients, right?
Yeah, and just quicker and shorter. It's not like, hey, let me call you back and let me figure that out. Let me call my office. No, we all have the same information because you can add collaborators to the file, and so makes it pretty easy to be remote, except for working with buyers.
Nice. How
So I don't have a transaction coordinator. Some people might think that that's crazy, but honestly, I'm in control. I want to know, what's going on at all times. I don't want someone else to think, oh, they're handling it. So if the mistake's made, it's on me. Yeah, I mean, being available is probably my biggest weakness. I mean, I've checked my phone several times. I hate, I have literally anxiety of, okay, someone's trying to get a hold of me. They can't get a hold of me.
Yeah.
And, I'm constantly if you reach me, it should be no more than 30 minutes before you get a response if I'm in an event or a showing. Other than that, I'm responding within a couple minutes, and people want instant gratification. As Matt said, if you send a text or call, you want to be called right back, whether that's an agent, whether it's a title company, whether it's the lender, or most important, your client. I mean, if you're representing somebody on a sale and they're selling a $2-3 million home, or even $300,000 home, if they have a question or they have a concern, waiting 24 hours to get back to them, is not good. So for me, I mean, I think that's my biggest weakness really is being available, which is a huge strength.
Everybody's available. That's pretty much what they make an experience. It's like, I'm available. This is a stressful time. Call me.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, we have just one more question and before we wrap up. But so going into 2025, we're excited because it's beginning of the year. We're a little anxious because 2024 was low sales, right? So hopefully 2025 is normal. I feel like we keep saying that every year. It's like next year's going to be normal again. What are you going to do different in 2025 that you didn't do in 2024? TJ.
Normal. Let me just say normal. There's no such thing as normal in this industry. Every year you're weighing different things, but 2025 for our direction, I can guarantee you, we're going to be increasing our sales and opportunities tremendously. And it comes down to lead generation. So, again, we want to be a lead generation company. And once we have the leads, now we have a process with this AI that we're using that is going to refine it so we can keep agents not in a marketing capacity or a branding capacity, or even they just are going to be in the sales process. Here's a viable warm lead or a hot lead, and you know what to do. You're an expert in this area, and you can take it from A to Z because we train on that. And then we have a transaction coordinator. I did not have a transaction coordinator for 18 years in real estate. And I actually used to say, I don't have a transaction coordinator. And when I just got one a couple of years ago, I can't tell you how that revolutionized my time, right? Because I am habitually always available too. So that's something I don't think goes away from highly successful people, is that we like to be in control. But just make sure, even as a individual agent, you can hire a virtual TC that will take care of a back end. It's good to know it. It's good to be able to go through it, but make sure that you guys have tools in place that can keep you not on the hamster wheel all the time, right? It's very difficult to manage life and family and enjoying this business, because it's very fun and it can be extremely lucrative, right? It's there. I'm just telling you, if you go focus, my thought process, if you go focus on one area that you are an expert in, very similar to what Matt does. We do it in a couple areas as well. And I know all these guys do it. But if you focus on an area and not because I talk to realtors, I'm going to Tampa to go show a property. I'm like, what are you doing? Take the 25% referral fee and hope they sell it. So 2025 is about lead generation and management of those leads. And
are you growing too? Are you going to grow your team?
Tremendously. Yeah. So even we're growing, and I'm not here to pitch Real Broker or anything like that. There's all great platforms. It's really individual based, but I just feel like, let's say it this way. We're a sales and marketing company in the real estate space. Real Broker is a technology company in the real estate space, which allows agents to benefit from technology. So it's not like the old, I'll predict this as well. The older agent in the real estate space that's not changing to today's market is leaving the younger generations the ability to take over real estate. There's so much opportunity out there. So if you're looking at an established community and you've got these older agents that have been there a long time, they're going to be pushed out just because of technology alone if they're not adapting to it. I will predict that. There's no doubt.
They'll be out.
What's that?
You think they'll be out?
I know they'll be out because they don't change.
No, they don't.
It's difficult the older you get in this business, you say to yourself, this works. I'm just going to stay in this zone. And I know if the market changes, I know I'll sell less, but I'm just waiting and just doing consistent work. And I do the same thing every single year because it works to make this much money. There's no scalability to that.
Got it.
It's interesting because I agree with you 100%. Like, you got to be willing to pivot. But I think we a lot of times pivot the big picture versus tactics that pull off the same thing. So me doing very boring work of keeping a small database and staying in front of them almost like an account manager of sorts. The question is the AI going to help do that for me? Is it going to take over some of that responsibility? Is technology, so when I'm tinkering with my process, it's really to get the same result and continue to get it, just maybe differently. Maybe we're marketing differently, but the big goal is the same. All that to say, for 25, I'm going to try and tinker less. This year I've had a little more time to tinker with some things, and I think the bigger we get as a team, it's more like driving a bigger ship. I need to make very small changes on the regular basis versus trying to move big things all at once. So if you're a small agent, or a smaller team in the room, like, you actually, the opportunity may be different for you, right? You can pivot and go in places much faster. And so depending where you are, who you are, think about your strategic advantage. There's benefits to being big. There's benefits to being small. And I think everybody needs to look at that clearly and not want to be something they're not. Decide where you want to go and take your business there. But I think if we keep doing the same thing we've been doing this year through 25, we're going to dramatically have different results.
Nice. We're going to add a few people to the team in 2025. We are dropping we have 2 farm areas. We're dropping one of them, not Oakland Park. And we're adding one. The one that we're dropping, I have to take a car to get to. The one that I'm adding, I can go in my golf cart. And 2025 is going to be a year about keeping me on the golf cart.
Well, that's good. So I'm looking forward to 25. I mean, I've always said
before he goes on, or when he finish, can we talk about your golf cart thing for a quick second? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go for it.
What do you plan on doing differently to stay only in that one area? Like, what are you ramping up that's hyper local that people could be learning from?
Yeah. So, in April of this year, we got our own private office space above BurgerFi next to Crooked Can. And our landlord is a hyper local marketer, Chris Chan, who does specific Winter Garden. If anybody hears Winter Garden, y'all know Chris. So Chris is going to help us dive in to some geo fencing marketing stuff that's above my pay grade or understanding. And then our golf cart is already branded with our name and Compass. Again, if you hang out in downtown Winter Garden, you've seen me on my golf cart. It's branded McKee Group Compass. My 3 golden retrievers are on it all the time. My wife and I and our kids. And so, anytime I have the opportunity to show property in my neighborhood or in downtown Winter Garden, I'm on the golf cart. A, it's a quality of life thing, and B, it's a branding thing. And then just continuing, last year we picked up the Bloom and Grow. It's the biggest festival downtown Winter Garden has. It's the flower festival that they have every spring. We sponsored that last year. This year we'll step up our sponsorship. So just more events in downtown Winter Garden. You'll see the McKee Group at Compass branding.
Got it. Sorry, I'll keep going, Alvin.
I'm probably going to try to get on my golf cart as well, but play golf instead of actually try to sell and take some time off to relax. No, I'm just kidding. 25, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. As I mentioned earlier, I've got a 4-year-old girl that we're only having one child. Mark's got 5. I don't even know how he has hair. It must be a wig. It's a really good wig. So yeah, trying to spend more time with my daughter. I don't know if I've done any deals with any of you guys, but she's only 4, but I do bring her to things, my clients understand it. Sometimes I don't have childcare. It is what it is. I make it work. If they're not comfortable with it, then, hey, goodbye. I'll find another client. If you can't have my 4-year-old daughter, then hey, but she's, I'm hoping that she'll get into it. She loves coming with me. I mean, she's only 4. She's got a long ways to go. Hopefully my business will still be thriving then, where she can kind of take over. But yeah, I mean, one year at a time. 24, believe it or not, I know a bunch of you guys said wasn't a great year. It was a pretty darn good year for me. So, I don't know if that just stems from, continuing to hustle and try to get as many deals done as I can, or if I just got lucky in 24. But if 25 is just as good, I'll be very happy. So
nice. We do have more time because Aaron doesn't have anything to promote, so we're going to keep going. I want to actually talk about, not specific to your
Come
business.
back in January.
Yeah, come back in January 16th, right? I want to talk about more of like your guys' brains about the real estate market as opposed to your businesses. So, a little bit of it. What's a market opportunity agents aren't taking full advantage of right now or going into it?
Past clients. I mean, it's just that simple. Like you just said, you did a deep study on people are saying no after the closing. None of us. I mean, some of us, but do not stay in contact with their clients. It's end of story. They look at things as transactional and not relational. Y'all have to start looking things relational. I mean, if you've got to cut some commission or something like that to save a deal, cut some commission to save the deal, because it's going to come around and you're going to make more money.
Right. TJ, let's go to, because I want to get actual tactics too on what you're doing besides the golf cart thing, because I think that's cool. But like, TJ, like what's a crack in the armor?
It's a crack in the armor. I've said it a couple of times, but it's so important to like establish a brand for yourself of a specific area. We see all these realtor social media posts, just selling everything, right? And it's always I. Like, I'm a big believer in, you don't do real estate alone, right? If you have to go and source anybody that's in the area wherever you sell, just call them up, take them out for lunch, beg them to listen to you for 10 minutes and just say, I would like the step 1. Because everyone in this room's in different phases of their real estate. They all have different goals. I would say that more than 70% of the people in this audience do not have written goals, right? It's kind of like, I got my real estate license, I'm just running everywhere, I'm doing everything I can. So, write down who you want to be. Write down how much you want to sell. If you sold 2 million last year, can you get to 3? How am I going to get to 3? I'm going to talk to my owners. That'd be your number 1 source. I'd probably say 80% of our business comes from owners, right? That makes sense, doesn't it? Like, we're 2 sides of a transaction. So like I said, doing a study, I'm looking to see where my lowest cost of entry could be for the greatest value, right? I spend money, and Albin doesn't spend money, but he's immersed in an area that he is branded as an expert, branded as value, right? Market always pays value. Find your value and brand it.
The country club costs money though, right? Yeah.
And no,
There's some expense there.
offset.
I guess a couple things I like to kind of reflect back on when we're kind of looking at, okay, what happened this year, where areas we can improve. Because I think you either choose a market geographically or you choose groups of people. And I've always been more kind of relationship focused. I'll figure out, whether they're in downtown or Winter Park or Oviedo or whatever, that to me is an easier problem to solve versus working with the people I want to work with. Now, there's exceptions to Tampa and, you're going to find somebody else to work with over there. But being intentional with letting them know you are in the business of meeting people who need to buy and sell real estate. Like, I don't like the, slimy car salesman feel of asking, but I like to make sure people are aware. And one of the things, that I think we often miss, one of the things we often miss is opportunities where we're doing the extra stuff well, and there are wow moments, right? And in those wow moments, we know that after the wow moment, there could be deals that fall apart. There could be issues that happen that make it not a wow moment. But in the wow moments, we need to make sure, hey, there anybody else you know that I could help? Like at this point, like we've got you to this far. We're taking great care of you. Can I help somebody else you know by yourself? And I think we let that, I call it our current client business, off the hook too often. And if we all could get one new buyer or one new seller from somebody we're already working with, who we're already providing value to, who they're thinking about us right now, because we talk just about every day, those are opportunities we need to make sure we take. And that could double your business just by being intentional around that, doing a really good buyer meeting, letting them know you want to be introduced. The second piece of that is when there are things that we've got to give on. If you got to give commission on something, don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm going to do this. However, would you do me a big favor? Right? And ask for something in return. Anytime you give, feel free and ask. And so those two things alone, I think, can change all of our businesses quite dramatically.
Cool. You did say past clients. That's like 85, 86% of your business. Besides the parties, besides anything else, like, and your technology sounds amazing, but what's an opportunity that maybe agents aren't doing, like in that moment, with their past clients? Are you calling them? Are you texting them? Or what are you doing?
I mean, pay attention to them on social media. Pay attention to them. You see them in the Orlando Business Journal. They just got a promotion, or they took, switch jobs or something like that. Just shoot them a text. Congratulations. Pay attention. Andy Andrews has a book called The Noticer. Notice what's going on. They just had a baby. They need help with their 4-year-old. Something like that. I mean, I have 6 kids, and so my kids get intertwined into our business like crazy. My son obviously works with me. He started real estate school when he was in high school. So my kids then babysat throughout Oakland Park. All my kids, my daughters. And therefore we've gotten some really good business from these families that they take care of their kids. And so just notice, like, there's always opportunities, but don't be like what they said, that salesperson. Don't always be talking real estate. Don't always be asking. Ask when you give something and when there's an opportunity, but man, find out how they're doing and where you can help them. And then you kind of have the right to ask at that point once you've given something. And give doesn't always mean cutting the commission, but it could just be time that you help them with.
It's more valuable a little bit, right? All right. What about you?
Well, to touch on what Matt said as far as cutting commission, I've been in so many deals where, I mean, you're a couple $1,000s away from making a deal really positive, or, putting a lot of tension between a buyer and a seller, and the other agent's not willing to move. I'm always the one that's willing to, cut the commission or try to make it work, whether I'm paying for something. It's not a big deal. It'll come back tenfold always. There's been so many times where I feel like agents lose track of what we're doing. They're constantly just worrying about how much money they're going to make, as opposed to, the seller and the buyer coming together to make a transaction, and that's, I think, something to take away from newer agents that are getting in this business is, don't worry about how much you're making on that specific transaction. Look at the long bit there. That's fine. But look at the long-term picture instead of just looking at, hey, I'm going to make X dollars in 2 weeks. Great. And then you peace out, think about your clients and think about, what you're here to do, whether it's representing a seller or representing the buyer. It's the transaction and not just the money.
Nice. Like it. Yeah.
One thing that I've trained my son really well with is, again, with this cutting the commission, and I don't want to make it sound like we're a bunch of commission cutters, lowball agents, I've got 6% deals out there right now. Yeah. So let me be clear on that. I'm all about this being a for-profit business, but live with the mindset of, if at the end of the year you help enough people, you'll be good. Just go with a mindset of helping people, the consumer that needs help in this biggest financial transaction. If you help enough people at the end of the year, you will be good.
Can I just quantify that commission talk? Because no one here leads with cutting commissions. It's always the very last bridge. Like, even in my own office, we don't cut commissions, right? Only when it gets to a place where it's going to destroy the deal, destroy the emotional environment, that we jump in and we do whatever it takes. But I think that just no one here is saying, okay, if this goes sideways, I know I can give commissions. No, it's like we go through the process and then all of a sudden something comes up in inspection and there's a $3,000, thing, and the realtor won't split it and they're only getting paid 2% because they didn't really talk to their buyers correctly. All these things. And then we like, okay, just we don't care about it. It's a matter of making sure that we don't lead with it. I don't like agents hearing like, okay, I always have commissions to default to. No, you work very, very very hard in a difficult industry, and you need to be paid for it, compensated.
Agreed. Yeah. Let's do questions. We have like 6 minutes left. Who has? What do you think?
Real quick, how many of y'all learned something so far? Make some noise. All right, who's got questions in this room? Raise your hand. We'll get a few from the audience. Might as well. By the way, if you haven't already figured it out, mark your calendars. January 16th. If you got invited to this one, you'll get invited to the next one. If you didn't get invited to this one, make sure you follow us on Eventbrite and that you're subscribed to all of our email newsletters and all that stuff. And that at the check-in, if you did not check in, make sure you leave a business card with us if you were on the list so we can add you for the future. I'm right here in the green. You had something. I could do some mic runner.
It depends on what your call to action is. If you're calling, asking for a real estate inquiry or sale, it's a failure. I agree. No one wants to be sold anything. But if you're calling, delivering value of something, yeah.
Let him finish. He's got some.
Yeah, and I just think that maybe sometimes what we do is, again, we're a marketing company, so we adapt our call to actions to emote a response, right? To get a response from people, it's just a conversation starter, right? No one wants to be sold anything. You do feel like, and real estate agents don't have like, it's not like a heart surgeon that, you got to really pay attention to in your sourcing. It's like, oh, they're in real estate. Let me see what they know, right? So I would just make sure like how your call to action is. I will provide our feedback as we launch this, and we're launching it to like 180,000 people over a period of time. So first of all, let's just say it's on a smaller group. It's to start, but we'll have great feedback for you. So if you want to reach out to me, I'll share it with you.
Can I give a partial answer to this one? I guess I can say yes to myself, right? You've got to use a multi-dimensional marketing approach, and I'm sure these guys will all give a great answer, but if you're finding that you feel like less people are responding to email, all that means is that you have to also be texting, you have to also be calling, you have to be having conversations. Like, I know because we fill events, at least maybe not complete this month, but we do this pretty regularly, and we have to cut through the clutter. And not every agent answers every email. Some agents, they answer every single email. If you send me an email and I actually see it, like my inbox goes to 0 every day. Other people probably have 60,000 unread emails and you're just going into their spam. Then it's also going to matter what system you're using. How well delivered is it? Are you sending it from the same place every time, or do you use multiple systems? So a lot of people get cheap. They go, oh, I've got one CRM. The problem is once that CRM's not delivering, you're off that person's radar. Like when we send Masterclass invites, it's not the same place that we send you top 500 invites. It's not the same system that I text my partners from. We use 3, 4, 5 systems and it costs more, but we know it gets delivered more often because if you decide you don't want to be invited to Masterclass, you're still going to get my ranking when you rank in the top 500 next year. So there's all this systematic logistics stuff that a lot of people are overlooking, which is making sure your stuff being delivered, but also being sent in multiple ways, because some people just don't read text or they don't like it. The second that you text them, they unsubscribe. Other people, they love text. So you just got to take multidimensional approach. This is from a marketing perspective. Obviously, I'm not licensed, so I can't speak to being a realtor, but I can tell you as a marketer that you've got to have a multidimensional approach in 2025 if you expect people to get your messages. And I would say that is the biggest mistake that people make when marketing events, when marketing a message, when selling, is they think if they just text you or if they just email you or if they just give you a phone call and they leave a voice message, I'm going to probably hit you from each of them. Maybe not right away, but over time, because it might be the text, it might be the voicemail for this guy, it might be the email for this person. You don't really know, but if you leave something uncovered, you're guaranteed to leave business on the table.
I always think about I needed to do some project at our house. I went on Angie's List. It was kind of a random thing. I didn't know who would do it. Put out a request for it and immediately had a couple calls. Now, I was thinking about my need in that moment. I wasn't ready to talk to somebody, and I think so 2 or 3 calls right out of the gate came in. They did the speed delete thing perfectly, left voicemails. I got a follow-up text from them. Still wasn't ready to respond. I think I was driving or something. I had a kid sleeping. All the excuses in the world. I still want the project done, right? There was one of the 3 that continued to follow up, and at the right time that was appropriate, we connected. They did the job. And I think too often we fall short on we're the one text, the one call, the one email, whatever it is. So it may not be your messaging. It may just be attempts. It may, and giving these people the benefit of the doubt that, they might not be blowing you off. They may really want to buy a house. They may really want to set up a showing but who knows? Who knows the story behind the scenes? We use the AI. We have an AI kind of follow-up call text thing that goes out on new leads coming in from like website and other kind of cold places. And the whole purpose of it's pretty good. It's fine. But it doesn't stop. And that's the thing. It's going and going and going until someone responds. And so our whole goal of that is response. Once they respond, a live person's jumping in and calling because I'm going to convert. Our agents are going to convert better than the AI will. So you just got to make sure these things have a proper place and you're really kind of thinking through what the overall goal is.
More questions? Yeah.
Matt.
Congrats.
If you can give me 2 things, what is your best favorite kind of old school thing that still works for you that you stick with? And what is one of the newer discoveries in your business that also good? So one like old standard that you still keep doing that works and something new.
That's a perfect question to wrap up on, by the way. So I want to get that answer from everybody here because that's an awesome question. Thank you, Carol-Ann. So just to make sure that everyone heard that properly, what's one old school thing that still works that you're doing? And what's one new thing?
Let's get Mark to respond.
Yeah, I got it.
He's too quiet today. He's
I know.
he's a slayer in the industry.
It's kind of nice.
I want to hear
to be honest. Old school, I would say like what everybody kind of talked about. That seems to be the main thing is building the relationships. Like your sphere of influence, the people that already know you, like you, trust you, is really important to not, and I'm big on social media. That's my other answer, but they see you on social media, but if you don't ever talk to them, if you never have any kind of relationship, if you don't see them physical, then they're not going to use you anymore. So I think the old school way is just like, and I don't love this term, but it's just belly to belly, right? Belly to belly. How are you? Eye contact, like just the energy of somebody else is very powerful. The other thing I think is the social media presence is I think like skill set's really important these days, but attention is very important as well. I think there's going to be a point where the people who have the most attention are going to get a lot of business, right? So whether that's through social media, marketing, social media, but I always say like always be marketing. No matter what you're doing, always be marketing, especially through video content.
Yeah, I mean, to hit on that, I think for me, it's really relationship based. That's something that I think goes back, I mean, I don't know how many years, but relationship for me is, super important. And it's something that, I've been doing since the beginning. Something new. I mean, I know everyone's talking about AI and, I know you guys got, that new, I don't know, what is it, Sling or Simple? Yeah, I'm sorry, not Sling.
That's cool.
Yeah. Simple. So, and it's fun to watch him on social. I think he works for probably one of the brightest guys in the world. The guy's taken this business to a whole new level. It's not just real estate. It's a whole bigger thing. So it's kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure he's got incredible technology coming through his platforms, some that, we don't have access to, so, but everybody does things differently. So AI is probably something that I definitely want to look into. But at the same time, AI is not going to do the work for me.
So what I said in the beginning, our old school thing is just these parties that my mother started in 1987 that we keep doing them. She just did one party a year. We've grown it and we continue to refine how we do them in the presentation and maybe the the theme, but we're going to keep doing that as a core part of our business. New might be what I don't fully understand. And again, if my 25-year-old son was here, he could articulate it better, but just the geofencing around our farm areas. Again, it's above my pay grade. I don't understand how to execute it. I just know that's something that we're implementing.
It's good. The phone works. The phone still works. You know, nothing's changed there. Figure out how to. And a lot of people don't want to call. You know, and a lot of people don't want to answer the phone. So I get that. I've struggled with that. I like being on the phone versus text. I think text, although convenient, can be wildly misconstrued and cause all kinds of issues. So I know I try and use it carefully and then get on the phone as best as possible. So, I mean, you could run a full business with doing nothing else. I don't think that's ever going to change. But I agree with Mark. Attention is the new form of marketing. Be interesting. And everybody's interesting is different, right? You're going to attract people who you want to work with. So be yourself. Show them the what you're doing in real estate. I mean, people watching Sarah Han on TV and these things. I mean, some of that stuff's not for me. Cool, I love it, right? But people want to see it, right? And that's what I think all these shows have proven is, you know, and from a social standpoint is like, you don't have to be extra. Be yourself. Talk about the industry. Talk about what's going on in your community. Be the mayor digitally. Be the mayor with geofencing. All these things kind of come to ultimately the same goal, right?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going to go over.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I gave you.
The phone, number one. Absolutely. I mean, if we look at our agents, the most successful agents that are in the top 3%, whatever it is, they're always on the phone. Always on the phone. And some people might say, I don't know what to say, right? It doesn't always have to be real estate related. We also do text warfare, we call it, you know, where you're texting somebody something not real estate related. Hey, by the way, did you see this? Did you see that? This is new. This is coming. You know, are you coming to town? Are you in town? You know, love to grab a drink with you or a bite to eat or something like that. Or are you home? I got some cookies to deliver. Whatever it might be. Not recipes though. But the phone is number one. You should have your phone in your hand working. If you don't have enough people to talk to, develop more people, right? Get more people in your circle. Go stick your stake in the ground and go own an area and start learning out who's there and how to get in front of them. Something new is going to be just probably more of the same, using more technology to touch more people, to put more people that are being touched, and initial touches. That's what the AI is for, initial touches, not long-time relationships. Albin can't use AI for his high net worth clients. They don't want anything to do with that. Probably, I assume. They want to know what kind of watches he's got on today.
What I'm hearing with y'all is a lot of you guys are using technology and systems to go one-to-many to drive one-on-one communication. So he's throwing a party, which lets him invite many, reach many, text many, call many, so he can get them face-to-face in person. And then it also markets itself as the cool thing to do. And everyone that didn't go is like, they have FOMO and they wish they were there. And TJ is using, you know, they're prospecting, but they're probably blasting out emails and they're probably blasting out stuff. And it's driving the warm leads that they're now getting one-on-one on the phone with. And so a lot of people overlook that it's not usually one or the other. It's usually using one to drive the other and get, you know, into a one-on-one conversation by sending out something that might have been one to many. So how many of y'all learned something? Make some noise. All right, first 500. Thank you guys for joining us this year. Can we give it up for Enzion Theater for hosting us? Can we give it up for Dave Stewart with D Stewart Productions and the crew for doing all the video? And PJ's here. PJ, where you at in the back? PJ's buying the first $500 and tipping at the restaurant. So make sure you go order something. They have the best burgers in town. People keep thinking I'm joking, but they won some award for it. But anyway, stick around. Come join us. We'll be at the Eden Lounge. Meet the people that were here. And thank you guys for coming out. Thank you to all the sponsors. I'll see you guys January 16th. Take care, y'all.